You can see my slides. Let me F5 this thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
All right. So I was tasked to do the presentation. So I'll be talking about how to build Java EE Microservices using Payara Micro. So let's go ahead and start. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Bohake. My name is right at the bottom of the slides. According to the platoon, I'm a principal technical consultant, development and programming. If you look at my details on what's this, Office 365, it says the first P is missing, so it says principal technical consultant. So somebody didn't put the P at the front. I've been doing Java EE development since. So that's basically over 12 years now. I'm a Java EE guardian. So what that means is I kind of basically promote and encourage Java EE development wherever I go. So I'm active, pretty much write blogs about Java EE or the experiences I've learned using Java EE and whatever. So, and the Guardians actually contacted me through Twitter and says, listen, we've seen your work. Do you want to be a Guardian? And they're like, yeah. So I became a Guardian. So I'm not the only one. There's a lot of developers and engineers who are very prominent that are Guardians. Like the main one is James Gosling, the founder of and creator of Java. He's also in the list. So yeah. Just a side note, I've also added that I do DevOps for kids. South Africa basically introduced kids into programming. We're having one in September at this very building as well. So if anybody wants to volunteer, they can get hold of me. And then I'm also on social media. So you can get me on Twitter at Elite Gentleman. So that's where you'll find me. I'm also active in there. So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell who I am. And then who are you? So this presentation is mostly will target developers, those who are in operation, those who are in DevOps, and hopefully those who likes to get their hand dirty like myself. I'm jack of all trades apparently. So if you are in that cluster, that's basically what this presentation will be all about. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so we're talking about a bit about microservices, a bit about, because these are buzzwords, basically everybody talks about microservices. So in terms of the Java space, we'll be talking about MicroProfile, Java EE, or now it's called Java Carta EE, which is now an Eclipse project, and how does the whole Eclipse project fit in, and then Payara. I hope okay, so before we dive in, well, let me talk about Eclipse MicroProfile. So it's basically a community specification for enterprise Java microservice architecture. So currently, for those who work with Java EE, we have two profiles. We have the web profile and the full profile. So basically, the web profile gives you a profile to create web application like servlets, like JXB, XML binding, RESTful web services, all the stuff that actually will create you a web-based application. And then a full profile gives you everything else. So it can, besides, there's some few EJB specification is in there, CDR is in there, everything else that's above REST, web-based application, web-based profile is included in Java EE. Then over the years, various people discovered, created ideas to create microservices using Java EE, but they didn't want to have a lot of these specification and APIs built in. So that's why a couple of years ago, around 16 or so, the MicroProfile community started. So it is a collaboration between individuals, organization, and vendors. They've joined to create an open source community under the Eclipse community to form microservices architecture for enterprise Java. Prominent ones include IBM, Payara, Red Hat, and to name but a few, and also some Java communities like the London Java community are also part of this community. So they form part of the Eclipse MicroProfile. So Eclipse MicroProfile is built on lightweight Java EE web profile. So it includes Java CDI. You'll see there's no EJBs on it. JAX-RS, so API for RESTful web services. CDI stands for context and dependency injection for those people who are on Spring. And then JSON-P for JSON processing. JSON processing came out recently. So Java, you can use it on the existing Java EE API, but Java EE 8 will include it as well. The newer release, which will be, I think, 1.2 or 2. And then the common annotations as well is also included in there. But on top of that, they've included certain specification for cloud readiness, should you want to have your microservice to be deployed on cloud, such as configuration management, fault tolerance, health check, JWT authentication, matrix open API, open tracing, and REST client. And then for more information, you can go to microprofile.io. And the specification gets there. Right now, the current specification is version 1.3. So that's basically MicroProfile. And Payara, for those who don't know Payara, it's an open source Java EE server that was forked from Glassfish. So if you've worked with Glassfish before, Payara is nothing new. It looks exactly identical, except it has a Payara logo and it's got a hashtag badass fish at the bottom. So if your client complains, why do you have a swear word called hashtag badass fish? Just know it's Payara running. So it's exactly the same. It's just a fork. So if when Oracle releases a new version of Glassfish, the Payara team forks it and then fixes a lot of bug and issues and whatever, and then releases the Payara version of it, which is identical. So if it runs on Glassfish, it runs on Payara. Initial release was in 2014. So it's completely open source. So it will always remain open source. The source is on GitHub and is very much active. They do nightly builds, snapshot builds, and obviously release. And then you can actually go to their website to actually get more details on Payara. And then Payara Micro is basically the microservice ready version of Payara Server. There is no GUI for those who like GUI stuff. And then it comes with Java API, so you can actually have it as an embedded application. So you can actually have your main class with your main method and say Payara Micro.bootstrap. And then it will actually start your micro container, your microservice, your micro container inside your application. And then it's elastic, it's got Esocast built-in. So if you want to create nodes or Payara server, it's got that built-in. It can auto-discover each other. JCache implementation is built-in by default. That's an additional feature. It's not really in the specification. So if you want to do caching, Payara Micro gives it to you. It's also got CD. It's also got EJB for those people who still want to do EJB, which is still not in the. It's not part of the MicroProfile specification, but they give it to you just in case. And then it's compatible with Eclipse MicroProfile. That's why I started with it earlier. And with the web profile built in, and it's available on main Central. So you can actually go to, you can do an MVS search of Payara Micro, and it will give you the dependency for Payara. And then a little demo. If you have any question, feel free to ask questions as well. So let me demo something quickly. So this, I created a little Payara Micro example right now. It was actually now. So basically, it's a simple application, RESTful application with your form dependency. You'll see this is my web application. You'll see, like, if you need to add database drivers, you need to include it inside your application, because you do not have an admin console where you can actually configure your application and whatever. So you'll add it as your dependency. Just, you can don't worry about it. And then you'll see here, there's a dependency to include your MicroProfile. So you just add your MicroProfile dependency in here. And then obviously, because we're running it of Payara Micro, you have to say your scope is provided, otherwise it will build in for you. And then there's my Payara Micro. That's all you need. And then if you need your driver, you just add the connector jar. And then to add your database is basically create a web.xml, add your data sources. This is an old school class name. I need to change that as well. And then all the property that you will actually do on Glassfish server, you actually add them here, like your property name value over there. Once that's done, you basically write your little simple application, simple endpoint, and Bob's your uncle, and then you build it like you would normally build. Let's see, where is this thing? Hold on. So you will basically build it. A simple microservice over there. And then once that's done, you will get to this folder here. Where is this folder? Hold on. It's small WAR file. So mine is 2 megs because it's got a MySQL jar on there. And then once that's done, you will copy it to your, where your jar file is, your Payara Micro jar file. So in this case, will be here. So you see there's my Payara Micro jar file, which is about 68, 69 megs big. And then my WAR file. And then once that's done, you basically go to and run it. This one. So I'm going to kill this one here quickly. So let's see if it's actually killed. Okay, this killed. And then you basically say, okay, mine is running Java 10. So if you don't run Java 10, you'll see that Java, every new releases of Java, they kind of deeply remove certain classes from certain, like the normal SE packages, and they're moving it into EE. So like, for example, JAXB classes that no longer exist on the standard AC packages as it used to be. So if you don't include add modules java.se.ee, you're basically gonna lose all your EE modules that's already been removed from version 9 onwards. So you can't run it. So as like Payara Micros requires JXP to run your services and all of that stuff, you will lose it. So you will need to add that to run it if you're running from Java 9 upwards. If you're running Java 8, you don't need to add it because it's still built in. So you specify manage. So you do your Java command, add your modules first. First, add all your necessary Java attributes that you need. And then the last thing you say, manage jar, your microservice jar, and then your WAR file. So once that's done, you just basically start this thing and you wait it to start up. Okay, while it's starting up, the additional nice feature will be when you containerize your application, to create a small Docker container, for example, or Mesos container, you will actually, write your application and using Red Hat's Fabric Maven dependency or plugin, you can actually inject it to create your image and then include Payara on there. So it will automatically create your WAR file, create a command to actually start the modules using Payara, your WAR file using Payara, and then build a Docker image, and then you can actually deploy it on your Docker container or Docker hub or whatever. So you can see it started. Just before the line, you see Payara Micro URLs, and then it gives my machine name and my demo, and then my endpoint. So I've got the application.weddle and the hello. If you can, if you go to Postman and whatever, and then you just click send, it says hello from Payara Micro. So that was a quick example on how to actually write your microservice and then use Payara Micro to actually run your application, your microservice application on Payara Micro. That's in a nutshell.
All right.
Has anybody got questions?
Yes, I do. Hi, Buhaki.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Cool. No, nice intro to Payara. I was just wondering, so you said that Payara has how many, it runs on the MicroProfile, profile, right, in the Java EE spec. So do you know if that would support something like, in Wildfly, they have the standalone versus domain thingy mode of running, where you have a central master node for management and all your stuff is managed there. Do you know if Payara has something similar to that?
Payara Server has domain nodes as well. So you can create your domains as well and then cluster from there. Payara Micro, you can create a clustered node using Esocast. So yeah, you can create, you basically create a domain config, and then you say -- add domain or something, or domain config, and then you specify your domain name, your domain file name, which is an XML file, and then it will pick, and then it will start discovering your other nodes. So there is a way to actually create clustered Payara containers as well. But the profile is basically says which API is available for you to actually create your microservice. It's not really
the clustering config,
Yeah. So, for example, Wildfly has a different thing. It's called Wildfly Swarm. So it's the micro of Wildfly. That they also have, it conforms to Eclipse MicroProfile, but additional features may not be the same as what Payara Micro has. So you have to check. IBM has Liberty Micro as well, which
Yes.
also the exact same thing, but their features not be identical to other features. So what I'm saying is, if you want to create your microservices to run on different containers, rather rely on the Eclipse MicroProfile, then run on those containers that are MicroProfile compliant, then to worry about, oh no, this container has this feature, I want to use that. It might not run on other micro containers.
Yeah, because that's what I thought of, when you mentioned Wildfly Swan, that I thought that Red Hat, they were very close to the whole Java EE community. I thought that would be based on a proper specification. Then it turns out Eclipse did it better.
No. The MicroProfile community is a community of vendors and community or developers or whatever. So Red Hat is part of it. It's under the Eclipse project umbrella, but it doesn't mean that they are not actively involved. For example, Java EE has moved late last year into Eclipse. It's now called Jakarta EE.
EE.
So Java EE8 will no longer be part under Oracle, even though Oracle is actively involved, but it's now going to be called Jakarta EE. I don't know whether it's going to be called Jakarta EE8 or Jakarta EE version 1. But all I know, it's under the Eclipse project. The Eclipse, there's a main guy, I forgot, he's got a Polish name, that's actively responsible of what's happening in the API, but a lot of developers are in the organization. Payara is part of them. Oracle is part of them. Red Hat is part of them. IBM is part of them. Certain Java user groups are part of them. So there's a lot of that are involved. So yeah.
Okay. No, that's cool. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So tell me then, in your opinion, and this is probably just something that could even be like just a casual conversation. In your opinion, do you see space for this for microservices, even though Spring seems to be quite dominant, or Spring Boot seems to be quite a popular choice for Java microservices? Do you see space for this in the development community?
Well, there is huge active development in the community. For example, there's always a debate whether you want to create an Uber jar or a skinny wall. Like, for example, if you're going to create microservices, you're not going to go more than 5 megs big unless you add third-party things like Swagger and which broadens out your WFAR. But the WFAR, if you write straight bare bone using just that specification, you're looking about as little as 2 megs to as big as 8 megs, depending on what's required. And and then since now everybody are into containerization, that makes your Docker container or whatever container you use it relatively small. So you basically require less resources or less resources to actually run your microservice than creating a huge Spring Boot application that does the exact same thing. So it's a debate, but there is look, IBM is a very large IT organization, and they're part of this whole thing. Oracle as well. So
but application servers usually bring their own libraries, and sometimes they are even more opinionated than what an Uber jar would actually have opinion on. Wouldn't you say? Yeah.
Do you really care? you're just writing, your main job is to create the application.
Guys?
So
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying, that if you say skinny wall, but the resulting container or image is still big because the application server is also shipping with its own libraries.
no, but at the end of the day, it's about how fast does your application start up and deploy. If I can create a small application and start it up immediately, it's fine. Whereas you just have to load up and detect your classes and whatever. But that's not. That's opinion. So
yes, it's just opinions. Yeah.
So for me, it's value add. So for at the end of the day, it's customer value add. So what if you use Spring? What will it bring to the customer? And you then use so. At the end of the day, it's what you're strong at. If you bring value with Spring and customer can see it, why not? So it's a matter of opinion. It's not really.
Yeah, it's a preference thing.
Yeah, it's not something to
100%.
really argue about.
No, 100%.
What's an Uber jar? You're talking something.
Uber jar is basically it's basically building a jar that's all the dependencies in there, like extra other jars, so that you can run your application. So, for example, Spring application requires a main class with a main method. So in order to create dependencies, it takes all these other jars that needed to run and puts it into one jar, and it becomes a massive, huge jar file with all your classes and libraries, and then they call it an Uber jar. Basically, but it doesn't really take a jar file and put it inside a jar file, because jar file does not detect jar file. So it basically extracts all the class, all these other jar files, and put it all inside together, and then create a massive Uber jar file. So it becomes huge.
Like a container, so jar file. I understand. Sure.
All right. Any other questions?
Do we have any more questions, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes. Is this Eclipse micro thingy only based on Eclipse? Can you use it on any other IDE, or you can't?
No. Eclipse MicroProfile is a specification.
Yes.
It's a specification of APIs designed to optimize your microservices. So it's got nothing to do with. It's got nothing to do with your IDE and whatever.
Okay.
Like so right now, your Java EE also is under the Eclipse umbrella, but it's got nothing to do with IDE.
So I can use API. I can use that API on any IDE. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, IntelliJ support microservices a long time ago.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. It's just an API. So as long as you include, where is the thing? Let me show it. Where is the thing? Okay, let me share the thing. Where is sharing? There's org.eclipse.
Dependencies, yes.
That's it. It will pick it up.
Okay.
So that's it. It's just that MicroProfile dependency has all the API required to create your MicroProfile. So you don't have to worry about.
So the disadvantage of using this Payara Microservices is that you have to only use it on Java 10.
No, it runs on the one that I run.
I mean, like when you use it on Java 10, you have to add some more stuff on it.
Yeah, because most application servers, whatever, were built with Java 8, because so it will require. I don't know how they do it, but I know that some people are moving to newer releases, but organizations are not yet ready to move to newer versions of Java because of like the existing applications and whatever. So to be safe for organizations, you need to keep at least Java 8 active.
Yeah. No, in fact, the additional configuration wouldn't be because of the modular approach to even building your own Java SE runtime environment and lays. Because from what I understand, with the modular approach from Java 9, is that not every like the Java SE library as we know it today, it's not the same on Java 9. On Java 9, you can basically compose your own bundle of the required aspects of the Java SE, and then you can lay that on top of your dependencies that you need to run your microservice. So the additional configuration, doesn't it come from that modular approach?
No. Java 9 went modular, but they also decided to do some cleanup. So
yeah.
they don't want to bundle EE functionality with AC functionality. For example, you can do JXB on Java SE, but there's a different way of calling it than Java EE version. So they didn't want to
okay.
So they've separated it. So it's nothing to do about modular. It's just they're trying to do cleanup as well. So the reason I did that is because certain modules, certain libraries does no longer exist that used to exist on Java 8, Java SE up to Java version 8 no longer exist. So a lot of them are mostly Java EE stuff. So all your things like JXB and certain things that requires EE that runs mostly on EE have been moved. So it's to just for backward compatibility with current existing system, they've added a module, that added a command to actually open it. Basically, what they do is they hide that module by default when you do but you can actually activate it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, that's what I was asking, that the whole additional config that Gabelo was mentioning is that maybe what he was worried about, that there's additional activations of
No.
that you have.
You can actually, if you run Java 8, you can just say Java -jar, specify your, and then your WOR file, and it will start it for you.
Okay.
So if you have configuration, you put it into a .xml file, and then it will pick it up from there, and then it will automatically load your library, in your lib when it's built. It knows that because, for example, MySQL drivers are basically services. It knows how to load it automatically and register it as inside as a JDBC driver and with JNDI lookups and all of that. So because it follows the services, the service and the service activation specification for Java. So yeah.
Okay.
No,
Cool.
Cool, man.
Do we still have any more questions, guys? This was a very interesting topic, and we've had nice participants there. Thank you so much, guys, for taking part. We always appreciate your audience. Thank you so much. Do we still have anyone who's got any question for Boake? You've shown us that you are actually a guardian. A good thing. That's very nice. We had both them that they are guardians and stuff, but we never thought we would actually meet one in flesh and blood. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Boake. If we don't have any more questions, I just wanted to thank you guys for today. We've had a full house. Just unfortunate that Craig didn't manage to join us because he's one guy that I know has got questions. So we will call it a day because our guardian has got a lot of things to do. If you've got anything to say, we're okay.
I'll put a slide and a code on GitHub. I'll even add additional examples on like how to do JDBC and do SQL calls and whatever. So yeah, so it will be. So I'll add it on GitHub and then I'll send the link so that you guys can see it. I'll finish it tonight. Oh. Yeah, I've just wanted to a RESTful web service running quickly.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I mean, and even the fact that you just jumped on it and you said, I'll make time. I know you're a very busy man. It's very appreciative. This is what we are talking about, where people are passionate and then they show us what they really believe in, you know. That's wonderful. For the guys that are still to contact me, who feel they want to showcase what they know about, please just send me an email and then we can set time aside. Once again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much, Burak. Cheers, guys.
No problem.
I'll be just